So specifically, what we're going to do is just look at what metadata is. Let's get onto some common ground here. Then talk about the 4 Ds of metadata magic. And then we'll talk a little bit about applying metadata with an activity I like to call the tipsy taxonomist. So let's begin at the beginning and look at what metadata is. Metadata is essentially data that describes your content and as a result gives it what I call magical powers. So one useful way I find to think about metadata is to think about Legos. Did anyone here play with Legos growing up? Yeah, a lot of you, almost all of you. That's great. Yeah, I loved playing with Legos. I used to, follow the box exactly at times, and then sometimes I would just pile a bunch of Legos together and try to make a huge tower, do all kinds of crazy things. So I loved Legos growing up as well. So let's take a closer look at a Lego here. And you can see we've got kind of the box area of the Lego. And we've got round nodes on top of it, and then different Legos have different shapes with different kinds of nodes. But this is the basic Lego. So let's imagine your content asset, article, video, image, whatever it is like this block. And metadata is like these nodes. It's stuff that you add on to the content to let you do other stuff. Gives you powerful capabilities. For example, here is an article in our online magazine Content Science Review, the admin view, the content management system view of this article. And to the left, we've got the main piece of content, an article. And around that, we've got fields in this template that are the metadata. So think back to when you played with Legos. What did you like about playing with Legos? Anyone? Infinite possibilities. Yes, exactly. There are lots of different things that you can make with those little blocks. On their own, those blocks weren't really all that exciting, individual block, but where the magic lies is in putting them together. And it's the same thing for content and metadata. The really cool part about metadata is what you can do with it, what you can assemble, build, create with content as a result of using that metadata well. And when you combine the blocks in Legos, you can build amazing things, even like a Millennium Falcon. This is really the cool part about metadata for content and metadata for content marketing in particular. You can make your marketing very, very powerful with metadata. So let's take a closer look at that magical power of metadata, and let's look at what I call 4 Ds of metadata magic. So if you use your metadata well, if you plan it and implement it well, you gain content powers around discovery, distribution, deduction, and delight. So we're going to take a closer look at each of these powers, if you will, thanks to metadata. Let's look at content discovery. Metadata makes your content easier for people to find, easier for people to discover, because it essentially describes your content for machines, for the technology like search engines and content management systems and social media sites and so on. And really makes it easy for that content to be retrieved and delivered, because those machines understand what that content is. So let's look at an example here let's pretend that you have a dog and you saw that Yoda costume that I shared and you thought, that's pretty badass, I want a Yoda costume for my dog. So you go and you search for Yoda costumes for dogs. Based on what you see here, which of these things is not like the other? Are these all Yoda costumes? No, they're not. We've got third down a Bantam costume, which is a travesty. That should not be in there. And this is because of bad metadata. So the search engine does not understand that this product is not the same thing as these other products. And as a result, when you go looking for dog Yoda costumes, you get not exactly what you were looking for. So imagine this was your content and you had bad metadata, and your content was showing up in the wrong search listings or maybe not showing up at all. What would be a drawback for that? What would be a downside to that happening? Anyone? If no one can find it, there's no point in having it. It might as well not be there. You could have an amazing article, an amazing product description, an amazing piece of content, and it's not going to have any impact because people can't find it. So metadata, very important for that. So this is kind of a lighthearted example, but content discovery can be a serious issue as well. Let me share one more quick example here. American Cancer Society is in the midst of reimagining their approach, trying to modernize their approach to content, and we've worked with them here and there on that. And one item that they discovered, as a small example, is that a top search term, transportation assistance, actually does not provide the best content about transportation assistance. So American Cancer Society has a Road to Recovery program that gives cancer patients free rides to their treatment appointments. And it's a really cool program. And for some reason, one of the top search terms being used on American Cancer Society's site is transportation assistance when people are looking for rides. Seems a bit jargony to me, but people are actually using it. So it is what it is. But because of bad metadata, the content that really provides the best explanation of what the program is, how to actually get a ride, doesn't show up in the top search results for this keyword. So that is one example of how American Cancer Society is working on their metadata to really modernize their ability to help people discover the right content. So whether your goal is to save lives or to sell products or something else, metadata is critical to helping people discover your content. Now let's look at a second D of metadata's power, and that is distribution. So metadata describes your content so that you can do some cool things like aggregate different pieces of content, different content assets together in one place, syndicate your content, so publish it in one place and also allow someone else on a different site or in a different experience to publish it, and when you make updates, they happen in both places. You can mash up content, so you can bring content from different sources together into a different experience. And you can reuse content, so you can take a chunk of content or take a video or take an asset and reuse it in different pages or in different applications and experiences. And related to that, you can deliver content across multiple channels at the same time.